Hey everybody, welcome to the Pulpwood Queen channel. This is Kathy's co-host for the evening, Tracy Lee Carnes, reminding everybody who hasn't to please go hit the subscribe button to not miss a minute of all the Pulpwood Queen's lively discussions and videos right here on the Pulpwood Queen channel. And now the Pulpwood Queen herself, Kathy L. Murphy.
Thank you, Tracy. I love it. We're trying to get 1,000 subscribers, and when we do, I'm going to give away a signed first edition of Jamie Ford's new book, which is going to be our February 2023 book club selection. And I've got I'm going to do two drawings. I'm going to do another drawing amongst our subscribers for a whole Pulpwood Queen swag bag, no matter where you are in the world. So if you're listening from, we're picking up so many people from India. If you're in India, I will send it to you. So please subscribe, get all your friends to come on board. We're all about
subscribe.
We're joining the conversation with our authors in tow. And tonight, I'm super excited because James Conroyd Martin is very special. He actually won Timber Guy of the Year back when we had our Bohemian Rhapsody Girlfriend Weekend. And I'm so excited about that because James is very quiet. He works on these historical fiction novels, but we have a thing every year at Girlfriend Weekend called the Sexy Reading Contest. And so we have all of our men authors and men attendees, timber guys who come do the readings, and James won. So congratulations, James. Again, you will forever wear the king crown. And you are reporting in from, tell us everybody where you're from, James.
I'm from Portland, Oregon, originally the Chicago area.
Yes. And we met the first time in Bellingham, Washington. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you were doing people's hair.
I was out there for the Chanticleer Book Festival, and I met so many authors. In fact, Janet Oakley, who actually took me around a little bit while I was there. Beautiful place. If you can go anywhere in the world, Bellingham, Washington is great. Portland is great too. And I like Chicago a lot also. So if you ever go there, you'll meet wonderful authors and have a wonderful time. But we met there, and somehow I started a chapter there, and y'all come in from the Pacific Northwest. Sarah Stalmey's coming, it's going to be awesome. And we're going to Amelia Island for our 2023 live Girlfriend Weekend. But we're here tonight to talk about James. And he signed on as Jim. I know you as James. It's going to be really hard for me to call you Jim because I like James Conroyd Martin. It just sounds like a king, don't you think? So I want you to tell us about you, James. We want to know. It's your life. What is your story?
Well, speaking of kings, I just found out that I'm related to the French line that leads up to Richard III.
Well,
on my father's side.
Well, let us all bow to the king. I'm bowing. Okay, go ahead. Right.
So, what do you want, the beginning?
Yeah, I want the whole story.
Okay, well, I'm one of 5 children. My parents were married in the 40s, and grade school, I went to, just picking up on the reading aspect, every Saturday I went to the local library. Mrs. Mays had children's hour in the morning, Saturday morning. Went with a friend of mine in Oak Park, and since then she passed away, and the library is now called the Julia Mays Library.
Oh wow!
But I mean, she instilled in me stories, and so I grew up, went through private high schools and private grade school and private high school, and would write about, in the essays, would write about things that happened to me. Like this girl on my block and I were almost kidnapped, and that was always a story that I wrote. And
how did you get out of that situation?
She and let's see, it would have been before 5th grade because we moved from there in 5th, so maybe 4th grade. We were crossing the street. Actually, we were playing where we shouldn't have been playing, but then we left, and this car was following us, and this big old black car, and he pulled up and got out and told us he was going to take us to the authorities. And Sharon, he opened the door, and Sharon started to get in, and I pulled her away. I said, my house was like very close by. I said, that's where we're going. And we did, and my parents called the police.
Oh my gosh, Jay.
And yeah, so I used that story a number of times, called Almost Kidnapped. And
you're the second person I've had tell me that similar type of story. That would be very traumatic, I think. And I'm sure you're shaking in your boots to this day, thinking how it could have come a lot differently.
Sharon and I reunited after 50 years, something like that, maybe 40. It wasn't 50, it was a little earlier. But anyway, we reunited on that street together, and she handed me a big coffee cup that said "My Hero."
Oh, that's a beautiful story.
So we've been in touch since. Yeah, she came out to Portland once.
Well, what makes you think you said no? We're going to my house.
I just my inside, my gut. Yeah.
You always scream and you always run.
Right.
People think they're always afraid to say anything, but no, I told my kids, scream your bloody heads off if somebody ever tries to get you. And we had a safe word, that, your dad needs you. He's in the hospital. Nope. If you don't say the safe word, you don't go with anybody. Yeah. So good for you. So you were a reader. Where were you in the lineup of the children in your family? Were you all boys or?
4 boys, 1 girl. One girl stuck right in the middle, Barbara. She probably got picked on a little bit,
Yeah.
But 2 ahead, 1 ahead of me, and then 2 younger. So 5 of us. And
that's a lot.
So I went to college, little college, St. Ambrose College in Davenport, Iowa, and that was fun. And majored in speech and drama.
Really?
Yeah, English minor. And from there, I read Of Human Bondage by Somerset Maugham, and I missed classes and meetings reading this book. It was like, oh my God, that somebody could write like this. And that's when I decided I'm going to write about my grandmother. She was married. She was married, had a child, and a widow, all at 16, within 1 year. I'm thinking it was the first pandemic. I'm thinking it was like in the early.
At 16.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I haven't ever gotten around to writing that, but
you will.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Was that your mother's mother or your
my
dad?
mother's mother? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So so that stuck in my craw that I wanted to write a book, but I also loved movies and I wanted to write screenplays. They kind of socked me into education at St. Ambrose, and okay, well, what else do I do with speech and drama and English? I guess I'll be a teacher. So I went back to Chicago. Well, I taught a year in Des Moines and then 2 years in Chicago at Marian Catholic High School. And the screenwriting just kind of took over, and I moved to Hollywood. And
let's hear that story. I'm fascinated. Tracy's a screenwriter, so this will be good.
Yeah.
So I moved into a little garden apartment, just the kind you imagine in Hollywood, the stucco and the walking up and all the apartment, 2 levels, all the apartments kind of facing that garden. So,
What street?
Cahuenga Boulevard, just,
Cahuenga. I lived in Whitley Heights.
okay, all right. This was like 3 blocks up from Hollywood Boulevard, 3,
Yep.
4. And the Tic Tac restaurant, do you remember that?
And what?
The Tic Tac restaurant.
TikTok.
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 No, I didn't.
Maybe it was before. I don't know when
I
that.
was near Musso and Frank's.
Okay.
Just a few blocks up the hill from Hollywood Boulevard myself. So I know that area pretty good though.
Yeah, it was like right next to the freeway. Just
Yeah.
walk up, and I could, in my bedroom, I could hear the freeway from the one window, and then there'd be silence, and I'd hear it from the other window as the truck went by. I got both.
Such a glamorous life there,
yes.
Jimmy. Glam.
So anyway, I started taking screenwriting classes and enjoyed them, and met a slew of new friends, and I met a friend named John Stelnicki, and he said, "Oh, you want to be a writer?" He said, "I've got this diary that I've translated of my great grandmother. I don't know how many greats, but 1790s."
Wow.
And so I just kind of bit my tongue, and I said, "Well, okay, I'll look at it. Why would I want to read this 300-year-old or 200-year-old diary of a Polish countess?" And but I did, and it was like Gone with the Wind. It really was like Gone with the Wind, with the war background, and 2 cousins, one not so good, and one. It was like a reverse on Scarlett and Melanie.
Wow.
The main character was Melanie, Anna, and the reverse was Sophia. She was the Scarlet. And so, I still didn't know about doing a book, but it stuck in my craw. And a year later, I went back to him, and we signed a contract between us. And I was just going to fix it up and have it come out as it was, as a diary fixed up. But pretty soon we realized that we realized that the history was kind of missing, because if you were writing a diary, you wouldn't be putting in history that people then would know. So the history was missing, and characters came onto the stage and never left, or you didn't know what happened to them. So, it pretty soon became a novel. And I got an agent right away, amazingly. Today, with the way you look at how hard it is to get agents,
Yeah.
I got one right away, Bertha Klausner, out in New York. She was, this will date me, that she was Leon Jaworski's agent.
Oh my God.
From Watergate. And didn't sell it. I don't know how hard she tried, but long after it became a novel, she was still trying to sell it as the actual diary. So we took it back. I got another agent after that. But time went on, and nothing. I wasn't ready for this to come out. It was good, but not great. And but it took me away from screenwriting completely. I wrote a couple for classes, but never submitted anything to studios or anything. And then after a few years, I decided, well, I can write a book anywhere. And I went back to Chicago, and the same high school hired me back. I wasn't planning on it, but they called me up and they said that we want somebody who is interested in writing, because we can't find good English teachers who want to teach writing also. So I went back into teaching and writing, and I enjoyed it. It was fun, but kept writing, kept at. It was called a couple of things. It became Push Not the River. I kept at that during the summers and Christmas vacation, here and there. And just time went on, and one of the companies came out that they do. Why am I blanking on that now? I don't know. But one of the companies came out that where you can self-publish, and they help you get off the ground. And it's not. It was just before ebooks, and so I came out with the book in 2001. My plan was, and okay, I should have written this down. The big, anyway, a big science fiction writer was wrote some of his books for this publisher, and he recommended that I get a start that way. So I did. I published it that way in 2001, kind of a homemade cover in that, and he gave me a nice plug for it.
Well, James, you've written quite a few books. And
Yeah.
so what is interesting for the audience that's listening to this is that we all think a book, it comes out, they give you 3 weeks now, a push. And people don't understand, sometimes it takes decades for books to, you put it all in your head and you figure it out, and then you start writing it. And then there's times in between where, you've got to think about things and think about how to make it better. It takes time to write a book. So that's why I hate it when people give their books away, because to me, it should be valued for a lifetime of learning, of educating yourself. And it's like any skill, whether you're an artist, a songwriter, anything, there's great value in the arts. So I commend you for hanging in there. And the thing about your books that I love the most is you've got the best covers I've ever seen. They're so powerful. Somebody sent me a photo of a Hollywood actress from the 1910s. It's one of my friends who's a gallery owner in Nacogdoches. And she goes, "Is this you, Kathy?" And I swear I never thought about reincarnation, but honest to God, it's that same pose in Fortune's Child. She's sitting in a throne with her 2 hands up. And I swear even her hands look like me, but that cover is fantastic. And so how do you come upon these covers?
Well, they're all paintings. They're all paintings
Which is probably why I love them.
In the common, in the commons. Actually, the first cover of Pushing Out the River.
Right.
Well, getting back to the story, St. Martin's Press. The plan was, and Piers Anthony is the name I couldn't think of at the time.
Great science.
Yeah. He read it. He says, "I never recommend books." He said, "This one I'll recommend." He was terrific, and his plan and my plan was to get a big publisher after it came out with this other press, and it happened. St. Martin's Press bought it.
Wonderful.
Albert Zuckerman, one of the biggest agents in New York at the time, agented it, and I got a wonderful editor, and came out with Pushing Out the River. And they went through 10 covers, Pushing Out the River. It's still pretty much the way it came out. I've altered it, but it came out with like 10 covers. I thought I was in. My editor would show it to me, and I'd say, "Well, that's good. That's not so good." They went on to another one, and then they came up with this one that was gauzy and very light blue. And I showed it to my AP class, and they all said, "Romance novel," and which was my thought, And I went back and I said, "No, I don't want that." And they said, "Well, too bad. We know better." And so I found out I actually had no say in it. But then it got to the person who does the circulation, who does the sending it out, and they all did their job, and he did his job, and he read the book, and he said, "That's not the right cover," and that's when the cover came up that everybody liked. So I improved on it. I put Warsaw down towards the bottom, but the model is, and I'm going to blank out on the name of the model either. To now, but anyway, it's a famous novel model.
You can put it in your blog tomorrow.
Yeah, I will. Or tomorrow, I think I'm still going to be on Theodora, but maybe the next day I'll be on.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's your week. We give you all the time and that you want. So beautiful covers, incredible story, and lots of historical research. So what's your process in all of this?
Process as far as
research.
Well, back then, okay, with Theodora, are you ready?
Yeah.
So I'm still in Hollywood with Theodora. I went to, I was taking a community course in art appreciation, and we studied the mosaics of Justinian and Theodora, and they were beautiful. He had these giant slides, and the teacher said, "Now, Theodora, there is a woman that if I were a writer, I'd be writing about her." So, hello. I went down to the library, I think within days, and took out every book on the Roman Empire and Byzantines and Theodora. And there were actually some old novels about Theodora at the time. And drugged them all back to my garden apartment and up the stairs. And a week later, the library burned down. Yes. So
you got to keep the books?
They're overdue.
Oh my gosh.
So maybe it was a sign. I don't know. But they've built a beautiful new one later. So that's how that got started. It was long before computers,
right,
and all that. So, but now I do computers. I do Googling. I have not been to Istanbul. It's on my list. I don't think it's the safest.
Let's go. I'm dying to go there.
I'll go with you.
Let's go.
I'll be safe with you, probably.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I, like with the Polish history, I've hobnobbed with people in the Polish community, and that both books are. It ended up being a trilogy. St. Martin's wanted a second book, and we got that, and then my editor left, and that was kind of a big blow to me.
That's a real tough thing, because when you lose your editor, then you kind of get.
Yeah. I had nobody in my corner. Yeah. She's gone on to Penguin, and she's way at the top.
That's where mine went.
Yeah. And but she does strictly women's and I think modern. Yeah. So so Albert Zuckerman, the big time agent, he said it would be better if you self-publish it, because none of the big five are going to want your book that they don't have the first two to. So I self-published, and it did really well. I got good reviews, and I've been pretty much self-publishing since.
You've won so many awards, James.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, if my job as the Pulpwood Queen is trying to find authors who haven't been discovered in a big way. It's a crying shame that books like yours aren't read by, I think, what about the Dr. Zhivagos? What about all these stories in different countries that were made into the big, films, Lawrence of Arabia and all this stuff. Nowadays, if those came out, I don't know if they get seen. And so that's why it's really important to me that we read books from around the world. And I'll support you always because you're one of our guys. We want to keep you out there, James.
Yeah, I did get the rights back to the first two books from St. Martin's. I contacted him. It was kind of interesting. I contacted the guy in charge of rights, and he said, "Well, it'll take us a year to make a decision, and it'll probably be a no." So I wrote to Richardson, Mrs. Richardson, the head honcho. She had come. They had flown me out to California to do sign 500 free books, and she came up. She said she was my biggest fan, blah blah blah. And so I wrote a handwritten letter to her, and reminded her that she was my biggest fan, and that this guy said, I may not get my rights back. Could I have my rights back? Because I've got a third book in the works, and blah blah blah. And so he called me like within days and said, "What's your address? We're reverting your rights."
That's awesome. You
So,
have to really speak up for yourself.
Yes, you do.
Yes, it's important that we have to fight our battles. So good for you. Yeah. I'm so pleased, and I just hope everybody that's listening will check out all your books. If you go to James' Facebook page, he's got them all. Don't you have them all up on the cover on your
right
photo?
Yes. Yes.
They're amazing. So please go to his Facebook page, James Conroyd Martin. Is that what it's under?
James C.
James
C. Martin.com.
Okay. Well, we will make sure they know that. So, so let's talk about this book, Fortune's Child.
Eudora, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's neat that was mentioned in your art class and you listened, because this story may have never been told if you hadn't. And that's what I look for too, is stories that have not been told.
Yeah, she was amazing. She was one of three children. She was born to a bear tamer and his wife. He tamed bears for the hippodrome, the massive hippodrome in Constantinople. This is 600, or rather, this 6th century, 500 AD. She was born 500. But he was mauled. He drank a lot, and he was mauled and died. And the wife wanted to. She had a new husband on the line, and he also trained bears. And she went before the hippodrome and all the political figures there. And of course, it was all men in the hippodrome. Women weren't allowed in to attend the chariot racing or the games. And but she brought her three children, her three daughters in, and they did a dance. And she beseeched the political group, the Greens, to hire the new husband as bear tamer. And they shirked her. They just blew her off. But the Blues called her over to their side, and they said, "We're going to hire you. We're going to hire your husband." And so that's where she got her start. She became an actress, and if you were an actress, you were pretty much a prostitute as well. And so she worked her way up that way. She became a mistress to this guy who was about to leave for the Pentapolis on the northern coast of Africa to be a governor of a province, Byzantine province. And so she had a child somewhere around that time, it's believed, before she left. And she left the child in Constantinople, went to Africa. Things were okay for a while, but things worked against her, and a probable housekeeper, kind of the Judith Anderson sort of housekeeper. What was the movie? Rebecca, Rebecca
yeah.
movie, but Judith Anderson is the housekeeper, just kind of a mean, person trying to undermine her, and she was basically thrown out. So she's out there in Africa by herself,
Oh my God.
and no way to get back to Constantinople. But she weaves her way. She has another child at this point, and
Oh my God.
leaves it behind, and goes through Africa and up through the Middle East, and is performing and gets in with some of the blue political groups along the way. And she ends up back in Constantinople. And in not too long of a time, she is introduced somehow to the Prince Justinian, who she was gorgeous. She was just beautiful, just ivory white skin, and he fell for her. And of course, he was nephew to the emperor, and the emperor's wife did not want her around and did everything she could to get rid of her. But they married. They're married before he became a co-emperor.
Had she had 5 children by then? 5?
No,
She had 3 before she left, right?
no, 2.
Oh,
She had 2, and even, and I used the 2 number, but the history is pretty
I see.
yeah, pretty sketchy.
Yeah.
And some of it is left to a historian that hated her. The Secret History was written about her and Justinian by one of Justinian's historians, but he really hated her and hated them both, actually. So lots of terrible stuff was written about her, some of which may have been true, but it's hard to say. What was interesting is that his Secret History, why am I blanking out on the name now? I'm doing this. But the Secret History, if you look it up, he wrote this about Justinian and very much about Theodora, and it was lost. It was lost until the 1600s.
Oh my God.
It was lost 1,100 years.
Wow.
And when that came out, it kind of colored what people thought of her. I mean, she's a saint. She's a saint in the Eastern Church. So is Justinian.
Wow.
So everything in the book colors her, and then people wondered, was she really like this? Was she really as bad as she seemed? But if you were an enemy, you were an enemy, and she chose a pope. She got rid of a pope and put her own pope on the throne.
Wow.
Wow,
And,
she's powerful. That's pretty amazing.
Even that one didn't do what she wanted, so it kind of backfired a little bit. But yeah, she could send you away to an island, and just you'll never be heard from again. So she was very powerful, but she loved her husband, and he loved her, and she was a she was a feminist, and
Wow.
she stood up for women at the time, and a lot of things. I'll do a posting on that.
Well, it's pretty amazing to me. We think about the trials that we have today, but I don't know, getting from Africa back to Constantinople under the circumstances she was in, that's pretty amazing in itself, because you go through some pretty, what part of Africa was she in? North Africa, or where was she?
Yeah, Cyprus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
And
not
then,
like as far as I thought maybe she was, but
and then Alexandria.
yeah. But I've always been fascinated by all the art history classes I've taken. Was such a, a powerful place, and the art, even in Italy, the things that I've seen from I would just love to see it. So Istanbul, I'll get my backpack. I'm ready to go.
All right. All right. So
Tracy, I bet you'll go, won't you, Tracy?
I'm there. I'm with you.
My last half of my life, I want to go places. I want to go to all the places I've read, like your books and different things. Interestingly enough, James, my new Bollywood dance instructor is from New York, but he's Polish. His mother came from Poland, and I've met her. She came down from New York, and he's a fabulous dancer. Tracy and I are taking his class.
Very good dancer.
And he's an entertainer, an actor, and a singer. He can do anything. So, did you ever perform as an actor with a speech and drama major?
Okay, something came on my screen and I missed some of what you said.
I said, did you ever act with your speech and drama major? Did you ever do college theater or anything like that?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Romeo and Juliet. No. Oh gosh. Gideon. I was a small part in Gideon.
I've seen photos of you when you were younger.
Yeah.
You're a handsome guy now, but you were pretty hot looking back then.
Okay, blank.
Got him all
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Okay. I was the player in that. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's so exciting. I've done community theater myself, and I've played some interesting characters, but it's a lot of fun because you get to be somebody, I think that's part of the reason I got over being shy talking to people was doing community theater with my children. And now, my oldest daughter's still doing theater. And so we had a lot of fun as a family doing it together. We do, Meet Me in St. Louis or
No.
I Remember Mama, it was fun. Yeah.
Did you do the accent?
In Meet Me in St. Louis, I was, the Judy Garland character's older sister, the big flirt, was trying to find
right.
And then I Remember Mama, I was the literary agent. I've been cast as a literary agent in many plays, one in high school. And I was from Greenwich, New York in this play that I was in high school. It was written by a kid who was a senior. And I couldn't pronounce Greenwich. I always want to say Greenwich or Greenwich. And my French teacher was our sponsor, and she was always correcting me, but I've since learned it's Greenwich Village, so, but I had a lot of fun, and I still have little inklings. Maybe one day I'll get back in it, but right now we got the book club going, and we got our girlfriend weekend coming up, and we've got, you've got this new book I've got to get read. What I do is I read them in the order they come in. And I read our author members' books first. So if anybody's out there and needs to get a book to me, go to my website, www.thepulpwoodqueens.com, and go authors join here. And it has my address. And I'm the only person that's reading the books now. So you send them to me and I will get them read. I'm reading now. So I will, yours is in the queue. It's right over here on this gigantic stack on this chair. So, James, what is your goal with these books? What would you like to see happen what is the direction? I always have to have a plan. Do you have a plan?
Well, of course, everybody asks me, why isn't the trilogy on screen? Why isn't it?
Absolutely, it should be.
And then the same with the Theodora thing. So
it'd be a great Netflix series. Yeah. Every book I read, I think, would be the most fascinating stories as a syndicated series, whether television or Netflix or Apple or wherever. But yeah, producers listening, you need to check these books out because my book clubs love your books. So go ahead.
Kind of going along with that, I was going to show you this. I don't know if you can see it very well.
Oh, yes, I can see it now. What's this?
Can you read it?
No, I can see the pictures though. Okay. They're great.
This is a book I came across not at the library that burned down, but somewhere somewhere that far back.
Yeah.
It's called Ava colon Theodora, and it's a whole book trying to state that Ava Perón is the reincarnation of Theodora.
Are you kidding me?
No, the whole book. And
Who wrote this?
she's still alive. She's still alive.
Wow. Have you been in contact with her?
I should know, but I should. She's in the Chicago area, I think.
You should.
Lucia Fisher Peck. And I believe it was self-published, long before the current state of, in the 80s or 70s.
But she's not from the United States, though. She's from.
Oh, she's in Chicago.
I know, but she lives here now. But does it state where she's from? Lucia? I mean, maybe she is, from American.
I don't know offhand.
Well, I'll check it out. Maybe I can Google it.
Yeah,
That's fascinating.
I think there's one copy that somebody's got up on Amazon. That's all.
Wow. Well, have you read it?
A long time ago, but I'm going to take some of the highlights and maybe put in tomorrow's post.
That would be kind of fascinating, because I never even thought about reincarnation at all until this friend, Elisa Steed, sent me this picture, and I go, this person really looks like me. I mean, it's really weird, because I don't even think I look like a lot of people in my own family, but she goes, man, she looks just like you. And it's on my website. You'll have to see it. But how interesting. Well, that'll be a story I can't wait to read. So
they both started off as actresses, as very poor, poverty actresses, prostitutes, mistresses, then adored by the public. Theodora was either adored or hated, but and probably with Evita too. But and then early deaths. Evita, I just realized, was 33, was really early, and Theodora was into her mid 50s. But both cancer. And,
really?
Yeah.
And they knew. How do you know it was cancer back then? I mean.
That's what I read.
Okay.
I don't know, but from details that have been given out, that's what they say.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. So this wasn't the original direction you thought you were going, but are you enjoying it? Is this your passion, James?
The writing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed teaching, and it was very rewarding. And I've thousands of students out there who learned essay writing and composition from me. And that's all rewarding, but this is kind of the cream on the top now.
It is.
I've got I'm working on one that I think will be better than all the others, but we'll see.
Whoa! Any teasers you can throw out to us tonight?
It's going back to the Polish Napoleonic times, and it's a personage there. I have a tremendous following among Polish Americans, and
it's kind of like Janet has all these people from Norway now, embracing her. But this is the thing that I think is really important when you're in school, especially here in the United States. You're given snippets. You barely get any world history. It is only until you get into college that you really start exploring. And for me, it was the art history classes that got me interested in really world history. And I've just gone down the rabbit hole on India because I love reading about all the dynasties and everything, the caste system and everything. So those rabbit holes are fascinating to me. And I think that you've really brought a lot of things to light nobody had ever. I think about, if you hadn't have written these books, would we have ever had these stories,
Right.
That's something
Right.
to think about. Well, I want to open it back up to everybody. So if you have some comments or anything, or want to ask James, or have something you'd like to say, please speak up, because we really think it's wonderful that the authors take time out from their busy lives to talk to us about their books and their lives and their stories. And so anybody have anything they want to ask James or comments? Yes, Kathy.
James, I'm going to say to Kathy, you wouldn't believe this, but historic fiction is my favorite genre. There's a little bit of history in my novels, but you wouldn't say it was totally history. But if I want to read, I want to read fiction about history, because I learned so much, and I just turn the pages. And the other reason I'm really excited to finish this one and read the next in the Theodora series is because in college, unlike Kathy, I am no artist, but I loved doing mosaics, and I was okay at it, right? And so I thought I'm going to take a mosaics class in university, and that led me to art history, which I did excel at. And my professor had been to Ravenna and Istanbul numerous times, and so almost the entire semester, because she was a woman, was on Theodora.
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
Yeah, and she had just finished. She was about to retire. She had just finished her last summer trip with students to Istanbul.
Oh man.
So I didn't get to go on that. But
okay, you're going with us. You're going.
I want to go.
Oh,
I
here
want to
comes
go.
Janet Oakley. Okay, keep going.
Let's get a group to go.
Let's get a group.
There she is. And Kathy already asked the question about research, but did you always know you wanted to write about history? Or is it the characters that just...
It was that diary, the Polish diary, that got sprung on me. I mean, I wanted to write about my grandmother, when I was in college, but and then I wanted to do screenplays, and I thought any kind of a book was 10 years away, and so no, I didn't specifically think history. But
it's more that you get the idea and you just start.
Yeah, it was the diary that did it.
And I also think that these little sparks that we get are because we get influenced by somebody who's a great teacher, and this or somebody who's got a great story. Because when I think about all the things that I'm doing now, it's because the teachers and librarians that I had in my life. I mean, I think they should be the highest paid profession in the world, because they've got the children's that are coming up lives in their hands. Why wouldn't that be the most important job in the country, is education, and our treasure troves of librarians of our stories. So in fact, isn't it National Read a Book Day? And I put out there, thank a teacher, thank a librarian, thank an independent bookstore, because Betty Crosby had put, reading opens the windows to the world. And I go, windows? It throws open the doors to the world. The libraries that have, I read every storybook in our grade school libraries and junior high libraries and high school until I moved to the Carnegie Library. I just couldn't get enough stories. But I didn't discover history really until I took my first art history class. And then I was hooked, because that's just something that is always been fascinating to me. And never liked history in high school because it was boring. We had these monotone teachers that were coaches. that
It's
were more
always the coach.
interested in showing the high school football films than they were in teaching anything about history. But you get a good history teacher. My first history college teacher in college was taught Texas history, and he'd come to class dressed as Texas Ranger, a Native American Indian. He was part Indian. I just loved him. He's now the state historian for the state of Texas. And so when I had to do a program in art history on the Ottoman Empire, I dressed for the role, and I walked in, and everybody, all the students, first of all, I'm older anyway. Everybody thinks I'm what's this woman doing in school? And I come in with the turban and the robes, and they're going, what the hell is this? And my professor loved it. She goes, you brought it alive, Kathy. And I go, that's what the best teachers do and the best books do. They make it come forth and I had this theater background. So that's why we dress up at Girlfriend Weekend, man. We dress up because it's so much fun to be these characters that you admire and love. So thank you, James, for this great story and sharing your wonderful books. And I'm really looking, do we have a title yet for this new book that's coming out?
Loving Napoleon.
Oh, well, that ought to be a good read.
I mean, it's already been a couple of titles, but that's I'm kind of leaning.
I like Loving Napoleon. I would stick with that because I remember when they had the big over in Louisiana at the state, what's the state library over in Shreveport where they had Josephine and Napoleon. They had a big with the Louisiana Purchase and all the stuff and French influence. They had a big exhibit. What was
the
what is it?
fairgrounds?
Yeah, it was, oh my gosh, that was the best exhibition I'd ever seen. And I always think of that famous painting where he was on the white steed and it's reared back. Well, that was all just like that version of Photoshop because that Napoleon never rode a horse like
You
that.
insert the joke here. Is it going to be a short book?
Oh, let me put my hand inside my jacket. That's really bad, Tracy.
I know. It just came to me. I'm like, you know what? Gotta get it out there.
What a great theme for Girlfriend Weekend. Maybe we should do a history-based theme.
I would love that.
That'd be fun.
Who was your favorite historical character? Okay, well, help me think of a title for that. Maybe next year. So, James, well, you've written Fortune's Child, and the new one I've got over here is, tell me again the name of it.
Too Soon the Night.
Yes. Yeah, it's got a great cover too. I remember it now. Too Soon the Night. And I love the fact that you are telling these stories because honestly, if you had not written this book, I probably would never know anything about this time, era, the history or anything. And I am so ready to go to Istanbul. I cannot tell you. Isn't that gorgeous?
I just moved there.
This is Theodora on her deathbed.
Oh wow!
In her early 50s, huh?
Yeah, and I had a group choose not to review it because of the cover.
Oh, that's.
I didn't get it, but.
No, I would not listen to that. I would listen to your students, your AP students that you had in school. They were right on about what they were saying, But book covers are very subjective. I've argued with. I have people tell me, and I'll pick a cover, and they'll say, no, this one's more commercial. Well, I'm an artist, so I like the ones that seem to me like something I want to frame.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Books to me are treasures. So why shouldn't the cover be? I mean, when Ruby Falls came out, I emailed the author and say, if you've got a hard copy of that, I want to frame it because Ruby Falls had the best art.
Beautiful art, piece of art.
Yeah, so beautiful art. I think and it's all about bringing beauty into the world by sharing our stories and by telling the stories. So thank you. Is there any last words you'd like to share with us on things you've learned through the years of writing and
Um, the one thing I was going to say would be a shout out to a former principal of mine.
Yay. Okay.
When the book came in from that self-publisher before St. Martin's Press, she read the first book out of the package, out of the box. And she read it in a night and a half, day and a half. And she says, "Why don't you teach it?" So for the last, I don't know, 8-10 years of my teaching career, I taught Push Not the River. And so
Really?
yeah. And I had kids say, this is the first book I've actually read all the way through.
What a wonderful idea.
High school. Yeah.
To have authors teach their books.
Yeah.
Are you hearing that, teachers that are authors and principals everywhere, school districts? I know the Glass Castle got adopted by, when I brought Jeanette Walls to Jefferson, the high school English teacher read it and she went to the principal and she said, "Can I make this a book club? Can I teach this?" And then she brought the whole class, well, not the whole class, but the top readers in her class to meet Jeanette Walls at her girlfriend weekend. And it was one of those moments where it was like, it brought me to tears because I thought, and then, Casey Cowers, who's going to be my co-host this year, he told me that his book, Celebration of Words, has been used everywhere. And Jeanette Walls' books is being taught around the country because of the story he wrote about her in Celebration of Words. So what a great thing to share. And so how many years did you teach that?
Okay, so let's see. Okay, 14, I guess.
You're lucky students. You're lucky students. How cool. And they actually read the book because they had the author in the classroom. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant share. Thank you. We need to have you come on and talk to our Writers Club, because maybe you could talk about that. Wouldn't that be awesome? Would you be willing to do that? Come on the Writers Club and talk about Push Not the River and how you taught it to students?
Sure.
I think every author in the country would want to do that. I go out to schools for free all the time because nothing gets me more excited than getting kids turned on to reading. I try to bring as many authors as possible and go to as many libraries as possible. So thank you for that wonderful idea. I'm in touch with you after I'll get through this week, and then we're going to get you special for that. So any last questions, everybody, for James tonight? He's applauding with his barking.
Yeah.
I think so. Let's go with that.
We'll go with that. As a joke, Garden and Gun is looking for best dog stories. And did you see that? I sent it to you.
I saw that.
Please enter Radley.
I am going to.
In the best dog story, because Radley just spent the weekend at my house with Tracy, and I were working on a bunch of stuff. So, and I have 3 cats, and it worked out just fine, didn't it?
He really does not care too much about the cats. He really doesn't. They're more fascinated with him than he is with them. He's just kind of like, man, it's a cat. That's like their food, though.
Yeah, he did like their food. That was.
He does like food.
Okay, I want to ask something. I should have asked it at the beginning. Have I been too loud?
No,
not at all.
No, but I'll tell you, James, I always, when I listen back on these, I always go, why am I screaming? And I'm losing my hearing myself. So if I ever get really too loud, you guys tell me to go get the hearing aid, because it's.
Well, I've been retired from teaching since 2014, but I still use my teacher's voice.
Yeah. Well, I think you sound fantastic. I mean, you just and share some of those pictures of you in your Hollywood days, because I don't know where I saw a picture of you, but you were probably quite the dreamy actor. If I'd been in that era, I would go, woo, who's that guy? So anyway, but you're still a handsome fella. And obviously everybody thinks you have a really sexy voice because you are a Timber Guy of the Year. So we'll be
What
doing
did I read? What did I read? The phone book, I think.
I think I had you reading maybe either John Grisham A Painted House. It was not a sexy book. It was just maybe from my book. I really try to pick something that is not provocative. I think it's more about the voice.
One of the years it was the Valley of the Dolls, though, as I recall.
Was it Valley of the Dolls?
I think it was one of them.
Yeah,
I really admire James for his research too. I really we share a love of history and trying to get the story out, and
you guys are two of those leading the country with your historical stories. So keep it up. We love to read about Norway. We love to read about Poland. We love to read about anywhere in the world. And definitely, I'm on for the trip to Istanbul. So,
okay. All right.
And when you get ready for that, when the world opens back up, let us go. And we will have quite the adventure. So thank you for joining us, James. See, you did very well with your new computer, and so did I. We both have new computers. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. And be sure and go to the Pulpwood Queen Presents, which for everybody out there, that is our blog page. It's for our author of the week. The official Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys page is for all book club members and authors. You can post there every day. If you'll tag me or message me, I'll approve them when I see it. I'm not on the computer all day long, even though people think I'm on it 24/7. I've got a million projects going right now and still trying to deal with the roof people. I had a limb go through my roof when I was in Fairhope, Alabama. And so what a disaster this has been. So a brand new roof, a limb just went, whack.
Wow.
Water poured in through my whole roof. And so Tracy was at my house. So
I can attest it. It did some damage.
It knocked paintings way up high off my wall.
Yeah.
Broke my childhood clarinet in half. And got one whole wall of paintings that I'm working on for a book wet. So, and they're telling me, well, that's a different appraiser to appraise the inside of your house. And I go, well, I sent off the itemized list today, so we'll see what it covers. So anyway, y'all just have a wonderful weekend. And
please subscribe. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Everybody, the person who gets the most people to subscribe is going to win a copy of Jamie Ford's book. So I got copies signed, and Tracy and I got them signed when we went and saw him in Dallas. And Jamie's book is going to be our February pick. The many daughters.
Yeah. I got to see him here in Bellingham. Unfortunately, I had to run to the doctor, so I didn't get a chance to have him sign my book, but I got to sit next to them at the Village Book. So
we got to the Dallas Museum of Art, and a woman comes up to us in the gift shop where we're buying books, and she goes, "Kathy, you're the Pulpwood Queen, right?" And I go, "Yes."
Yes.
I'm Will Clark's wife. And I go, oh my God, it was Michelle. And Michelle is over the arts and letters program at the Dallas Museum of Art. Will Clark is going to be a keynote speaker at Girlfriend Weekend for his new book, Marigold. And all these connections, she's introduced me to all these people. And then there was a line that went clear out around the building. And when they opened the doors, they came and got Tracy and I, and they said, we've got VIP seats for you up front.
Oh,
well,
we were just treated like we were queens.
Oh, that's awesome.
We got the treatment, man. I was impressed.
I was kind of blown away, and it was really nice. And they now have an online program for their arts and letters, so you don't even have to be there. And they've got some amazing people coming up, so you can subscribe and listen to it online. And who did they have coming that we couldn't wait to hear?
Owen Wilson's mother is a
Yeah.
photographer and had a book.
She had a book, and then what was the other woman that I just could not believe they got to come? Well, just go to the Dallas Dallas Museum of Art and check out the Arts and Letters program. But we had a wonderful time, and Will just told his wife that day he was going to be coming to Girlfriend Weekend. And I said, "Are you coming to Girlfriend Weekend?" She goes, "I just found out about that today." And I asked him months ago, well, he better bring you. And she goes, "Well, I'm planning on it." So anyway, we're going to have fun in Amelia Island. So get everybody on board, get as many people as you can to come. The more people that come, the more people that are going to listen to all the authors. And we really think this is the only international book club convention in the world, you all. And this year it's going to be exceptional because we've got Jonathan Hope back. We've got the Mighty Blazers zooming in this year. We've got Adriana Trigiani, Will Clark, James Wade. We've got Marilyn Simon Rothstein and her comedy panel, which is going to be great. My agent's back, Marley Rusoff. She's bringing 3 outstanding authors, and there's more. And I'm working on the program now, but I got delayed. I was hoping to have the tentative thing up after this weekend, but having my computer go dead and trying to get that fixed during a holiday weekend. But I have to give Best Buy a big hand because
I do too.
That Geek Squad got me going that night. I was home by 8:30 with my new computer, so I've been getting it all going. So
now, Katie, you know that I'm the one that told Jamie Ford about Amelia
Yes,
Island.
I am, and we want you to continue to. I said, Jamie, are you coming? We asked him, "Are you coming to Girlfriend Weekend?" He goes, "Kathy, I'm so tired." I go, "Jamie, I'm telling you, Alicia would really probably love to come to this island, and I might bring you some barbecue, you know." And so we're keeping our fingers crossed. So, you know, periodically get on there and say, "We were talking about you, Jamie. We want to get you to come." You know, he's the second author that's broken that New York Times glass ceiling to the point of, I don't even know, he's still in the first printing because I got signed first editions, but they printed a lot. But it'll be going into many printings with Jenna Bush Hager behind him and making that a limited television series. And I have to tell you that Casey Cowers has a new book that's going to be an international bestseller. So you all, and Tracy, tell them your new book and what we've got going on.
Right? Yeah. My new book is called The Darlings of Sundance, and it is coming out later this year. And right the weekend after Girlfriend Weekend, we're after Girlfriend Weekend, we are hopping back in the car, driving back to my house, taking off all the beach stuff, putting the winter stuff in the car, and driving to Park City, Utah, where I have a book signing on the opening weekend of Sundance at Dolly's.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Oh man, I had more fun getting that going, and we have 2 filmmakers joining us. I'm doing the Pulpwood Queen Presents at Dolly's Bookstore at the film festival, and I've always wanted to go, but you know, our 2 book and film clubs are exploding. In fact, the Pulpwood Queen Shah Rukh Khan, I was teased about this, you know, for doing this, but I am his biggest fan, and we're having a special showing of his movie, My Name is Khan, Sunday night in commemorative of 9/11. If you haven't seen the film, I hope you watch it. It's absolutely one of the best films. But I've had 10,000 new viewers join my YouTube channel from India in the last 28 days.
Wow.
So we are really picking up a following from, but we don't want just India, we want the world following us. So it's going to take a village to get this going. So let's all hold hands. Let's travel together. Let's share the word. Let's get everybody going. And once we're going back live, this is just, I think it's really going to explode this year. We have more people coming than we've had coming in past years. And we have terrific authors that are coming in, and I think we're going to have fun. We're going to give you lots of time to have some fun on the island too. So.
Yeah.
We'll see you at Girlfriend Weekend. And all I can say is, James, like your book, it's all about the story. So
Thank you,
I'll
everybody.
get this posted by tomorrow morning. And everybody in the meantime, go to the Pulpwood Queen Presents blog on Facebook, because James is blogging all this week, and you can go through Sundays. You can post as much as you want. Just let me know when they're up there. If you get them up first thing in the morning, that's the best, because then I get busy and I keep checking. But I love everything you've posted so far. Thank you.
I work late at night, so you'll have it in the morning.
Well, that was the best picture of you and I. Did we get one at Bellingham together?
Yeah.
I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. Maybe it's somewhere out there. I'll look around and see if I can find it again. But we had a really good time. I went there twice and I loved it.
You
So,
might find it on my James Conroyd Martin, not the
I'll go
author's
look.
site,
I'll go
but
look.
in the photos.
Well, I couldn't find it.
I'll
but
look for it.
Yeah, thank you, James. And you just have a wonderful night out there, and everybody.
This was
have
great.
a great time. And any updates from you, Janet and Kathy, before we go?
I'm still slogging, but one of the things that I'm working on is that my big excitement is my 2 audiobooks narrated by Chris Humphreys are going to be in the Shetland Library. And I'm flying to
Chris. He's great.
I know. So I'm so thrilled, but I'm also trying to get on a panel at it's Shetland Noir. And I already planned to go to do the research, but I've got my ticket already. Anne Cleves, who writes the Vera and Shetland series, she's headlining, but my evil plan is to get on a panel. It's a thriller mystery. And just getting the audiobooks into their library, I felt maybe the Arts Council will pay attention.
You need some help. You want me to call them? I'll call them. I called up Dolly's and I got us on that right.
That would be awesome. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, you got to make friends. You got to make friends with Anne Cleves.
Yeah.
Well, what's really wonderful about her, because of Zoom, so many things are happening. So about 8 months ago, she did an event with her favorite librarians. One was in Shetland, one was in Northumberland, one was somewhere in Scotland, and they just talked about libraries. And I thought, here's an author who really supports libraries, and they talking about all the things that they do. So I told them what we do at Whatcom County. We have we read a book, and I think Cool Millions is what we're going to read this coming year. But we have the author come, and we have a publication. We do all these different kinds of things, and they thought, well, that's cool. But I was so impressed that she really supports libraries, and authors should,
Absolutely. So. Kathy, what have you got going on? Anything exciting?
Well, I'm going to post my cover sometime this week on your site.
I think I saw the new cover.
Page.
Pardon? I think I've already seen the new cover. And it's got the yellow.
Yeah, it's got the yellow, and I am really just over the moon about the cover.
I agree.
But the interior is pretty darn good too.
Can't wait to read it.
And I am hosting Carol Vandenhand on Story Hour on Thursday.
Oh, share that on the official.
I will.
Page, and I'll share that.
I will.
Carol's coming to Girlfriend Weekend.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm reading her new book now. So that's exciting. So we've got many things going. So this Sunday night, a special book and film Shah Rukh Khan film club. My Name is Khan, which was out in 2010. It is fabulous, y'all. Tracy and I watched it. We cried and cried.
It's
life-changing. It's a life-changing, wonderful movie about love and about kindness and understanding. And no matter where you are in the world, we need to learn more about each other. And then I'm going to be on September 27th, besides our book clubs and other things, and Yugatani, I'm going to help launch a new Winds of Fire series that will be out at Girlfriend Weekend, and it's her birthday. So we're going to do something, and we're going to announce a really unique contest. So we'll hope I'll be putting that link out probably by this week, so you can know about it. If anybody listening in my book club has a book launch and needs me to help them in any way, I will be glad to help you do a book launch, and we'll come up with something really exciting, because to me, it's all about the authors. It's always been about the authors and their books. I want to do everything I can to help you. So we're going to get you on the Writers Club, James, and we're going to, if you need help with that bookstore, I'll speak on your behalf and give you the 5 diamond in the Pulpwood Queen Tiara stamp of approval, Janet. We'll get you in there for the noir event, and we're full steam ahead, you guys. Get more people to come to the book club meetings, man, because I tell you, it's all about making reading not only enlightening and educating, but fun. I mean, it's really about reading's the best entertainment in the world, no matter what type of reading. So thank you, everybody. And I'll end again with it's all about the story. All right, bye.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, James.
Love you all. Bye.